Hello, my name is Ani Oblazov, and this is my podcast on racism. By me doing these interviews, I have found that most people I know feel a similar way about racism no matter where they are from. These lovely people believe that racism is a big problem that needs to stop, and I agree completely. The following are interviews from my friends Marcus,
Hi, I'm Marcus.
Shawnee,
Hi, I'm Shawnee.
Valeria,
Hello, my name is Valeria.
Caleb,
Garza.
and my mom, Jo.
My name is Jo.
They all have either experienced or have seen racism and know that it is terrible and does not feel good. I hope you find my podcast to be informative and help you see how racism makes people feel. Thank you. My first question that I asked was, what is your heritage? I thought it was so cool finding out where everyone was from. I feel it is a great thing to hear about your friends because you get to know more about them. And it's always great knowing more about your friends.
I don't know what my background is, I know I'm African American, but I don't know what else or what part of Africa I'm from,
I'm Panamanian, Brazilian, and Irish.
I come from a Hispanic descent, so I guess I'm Mexican.
My mom is from, she is part Poland, or Polish. My dad, he's part German, part Mexican a little bit.
Mostly European, well, entirely European, mostly Norwegian.
My next question was, have you ever been influenced by a family member about racism? I know that there are some people who still feel just as strongly against other races as we feel that racism is wrong. I once had an experience somewhat of a family member using a derogatory word for something. My great-grandma Pat, the sweetest yet stubborn little old lady you'd ever meet, used to have a bowl of mixed nuts on her living room counter. And she called one of the kinds of nuts a derogatory name. I was shocked, one, because she said the word, and two, because I was probably 10 at the time and knew that that was a really bad word to say. This was a shock to me, but it was nothing weird because it was how she was raised.
No. My family's not from the South. Ooh! No, I'm just messing. Not really raised under a racial influence.
I can't say that I have, but I can't say that I haven't. So, probably.
Fortunately, I have not, and I think that's kind of good in some ways because I don't look at people by their race or by by the color of their skin or anything. I just look at them by the content of their character, and I guess I'm fortunate that my family raised me that way to not judge people.
Yeah. Judging by one's character has come up a few times throughout my interviews and talking about racism to others too. This is way better than judging by one's skin color. There's no reason to do that. It is just logically the right thing to do is to judge someone by what they do and who they are, but not by what they are. Anyways, back to more of the answers to my question, have you been influenced by family members?
No, my family has always taught me to, love everyone and to treat everyone with respect. because, everyone's the same, just despite skin color. People can't choose the way they are, and so why should they be looked down upon for that? So I'm not a racist person, and my family hasn't raised me to be racist.
I would say I was raised anti-LDS. I guess that's racism.
Well, is LDS race? It's not
We're
really
all Caucasian,
race. No,
but
that's
but it-
beliefs. It's
Okay.
not really race.
then I would say not a racist upbringing.
My next question was, have you ever been discriminated against?
Yes, I'm African American.
Marcus,
What? It's true.
I know, but can you please elaborate on like an incident that you were discriminated against?
I get followed by cops a lot when I drive at night. There was this one time I was dropping off Brandon at home, and from like Redwood Road to State, and then it was like State and 45th. I was like followed by a cop. That wasn't pleasant.
Yeah. And you think it was because they saw you were black? Or just because you're a shady driver driving
I'm not
in the street?
shady. So it was like Saturday when all like the street cars come out, right? And they have all these fast, nice cars to follow, and they follow the one black kid in the rusty old Subaru. So that's gotta mean something.
Alright.
I hate pigs.
Okay.
Yes, and it sucks.
Do you have any like stories you could tell me?
Okay, there's one time I went to like all white school in 4th grade, and it was like literally all white people. No offense, but but no, it was like I was the only darkest person there, me and my brother, and everybody would just stare at us like we're freaking zoo animals. And then in the hallway they'd be like, "Oh, can you go like a monkey?" And we're like, "What?" Like they're like, "Can you make sounds like a monkey?" And we're just like, "What are you talking about, you stupido?" Like, no. And then, yeah, that was like the worst 2 years of my life. My brother's like darker than me, so he got like more discriminated against, but
That's stupid.
I have. And it's not a good position to be in because, I don't know, it just doesn't feel good to like know that other people are judging you based on your race and not for what you've done or what you're doing. And it's just like kind of sad. Well, it like kind of hurt me, obviously, because and it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Do you have like any stories you could tell me that you
Oh,
feel
I do.
alright telling me?
I do. Okay, so since I was born in Mexico, like when I tell people that I was born in over there, they automatically like say, "Oh, did you come from the slums of Mexico? Do you know any drug cartels?" Like, no, no, I don't know any. And then I remember like I was in California once. I went with my family, with my dad and everyone, and we went to Disneyland and everything. And then we were waiting in line. And then my family likes to speak Spanish a lot, especially when we're around family.
Yeah.
And then there was like this group of American people in front of us. And then this old white man, he's just like started criticizing us and everything. And he taught me new ways to hate myself. And I was like, thanks, man. I was like, it didn't feel good. But, you know, some people are born that.
Yeah.
Well, they aren't born that way. They were raised that way. So
Yeah.
it's kind of unfortunate and sad, but, you know.
Well, that's messed up that someone would do that.
Yeah.
Especially like at a kid park. Like, why would you turn around and start treating people terribly when you're there with your family.
But the good thing is that, like, other people overheard, so we got defended by them, so that's a good thing that other people are recognizing that what they said and did was wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad people try to help.
Yeah.
Well, I guess since I'm white, people automatically assume I'm rich and that I have a nice car.
Well,
But,
are you rich and have a nice car?
well, no comment. Just, let's see. But yeah, I mean, other than that, people don't really, you know, discriminate me in any way or
Yeah.
be rude to me in a racial form.
I think I noticed at my last job where I was working in a Italian-based restaurant, working in the kitchen. It was mostly Mexican managers, and I think because I didn't know Spanish, it put a wall between me and the Spanish-speaking employees. So there were like inside jokes that I couldn't be a part of because I didn't speak Spanish. So that felt like it was racist. But that was just amongst ourselves. It wasn't a racist act from the management
Yeah.
or the owners.
As I kept interviewing people, I got more details to my questions. The question was said a few different ways, but they all pretty much were asking, have you ever felt strongly for or against someone because of their race? Here are their answers.
Yeah, I hate those honkies. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh!
Not really.
Okay.
Sort of. It depends who the person is, you know? Like, I don't really care about race. I care about respect. And so, if you, respect me, I'll respect you. But if you're, a jackass and, racist towards me, I'll be, racist towards you, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's understandable. I think anybody would be that way.
Honestly, no. I'm friends with every kind of person. No matter the race. So, I mean, I just feel like it's pretty stupid just be friends with someone because they're black or because they're Asian. I feel like we should all be friends just because for people's personalities and how they are. But
I agree.
No, because I know what it's like to be in that position where you're being judged by your race, and just like I said, it doesn't feel good to know that others are focusing more on where you come from or what the color of your skin is instead of judging you by your character and your personality. And I wouldn't ever wish that on my worst enemy, to be discriminated like the way that I've been. But no, I haven't felt strongly, hatred toward any other race.
Have you ever felt strongly for someone because of their race? Like how there's the whole thing about President Obama being black.
No.
Have you ever felt for someone because they're different?
No. Well, I think it's with President Obama, I think it's a big step in, in equality, race equality, and I think it's honestly really cool that he's president and everything.
Yeah.
And I think that for people of color like me, I think it's more of it's a good step to know that even though it may be a little step, it's a step closer to what we want, which is race equality.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I guess I just look at the person depending on their I guess the word's like qualifications, but just what the type of person they are, not depending on their race or, you know, yeah.
I think that I probably fall into the stereotyping where, I always expect Asians to be good at math, Indians to be good at computers. And I don't like that about myself because it's a stereotype, and it's a stereotype that shouldn't be continued.
But it's nothing bad. And, well, they're not bad stereotypes. Well, I don't know. Is there such thing as not a bad stereotype?
A stereotype that
Well, it's kind of
promotes
like
good things. I guess a stereotype that promotes that Asians are good at math. But what if you were Asian and you were really bad at math and everybody kept asking you for the answer? I mean, wouldn't that make you feel extra stupid?
Yeah, that'd be pretty messed up. You have a good point. I guess I just haven't really thought about that.
Yeah.
So for my last question, only a couple people got this one because I added it halfway through. It was, have you ever seen any racism occur? Or seen it on TV or in front of you?
All right. So do you have any stories that you could tell me about an instance of seeing racism or anything like that?
Racism. Let's see. Let's see. I'm thinking. A story about racism.
Have you ever seen someone be racially profiled for any reason?
Not in person, but I mean, with everything that's been happening on TV, I really disagree with that, and I feel like it should be justified, and there should not be racist cops.
Absolutely, I agree. That's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And people need to learn to love each other and to not discriminate depending on their race, color.
I agree.
I agree too.
I think I'm really sheltered growing up in Utah because there's so few dynamics. It's mostly a white, middle class neighborhood and city. So, have I ever seen direct racism? I remember talking to a parent about their student that went to Glendale Elementary School and how they felt like there was reverse racism because it was like the English as a second language students were treated better than the actual English as as their native language were treated. That was a real surprise to me. I didn't realize that happened in my city. I don't disbelieve it. I remember at East High, there was a vice principal who was reverse racist. He very much favored the white kids over the Spanish kids, and he was Spanish himself. He was, I think, of Mexican heritage. So,
was this when you went to East?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, so that was, it was pretty well known. that he was reverse racist and favored the white kids and tried to give them extra help, to give them better opportunities. But when a friend of mine who had a Spanish last name got in trouble with the vice principal, he spoke openly about how these Mexicans are, causing problems.
Really?
Yeah.
Like in front of these students?
It was actually to the parents.
Oh. Wow.
Do you want to hear the specific story?
Well, if you want to tell me, sure.
Yeah, it was, my friend Scott was dating Linda, and Linda's last name was Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
So Scott got in trouble for sloughing, and Linda's dad went in as the guardian to represent Scott's family, because they lived in West Valley and had pretty much gave him, what's that called when you're emancipated? Status. So in order for Scott to continue school, he had to have an adult come and talk to the vice principal.
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Gonzalez went in and spoke to Mr. Trujillo, who was the vice principal at the time. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Trujillo was saying how Scott was hanging out with really bad influences like Linda, who was actually his daughter.
Wow.
And
that would get you in trouble real quick.
Yeah, and Mr. Gonzalez was really upset about the whole thing.
Yeah. I would be too.
Yeah.
That's not something you say to people.
Yeah. Especially, it was especially heartbreaking because Mr. Trujillo had such strong influence on the entire school because he was the vice principal, and for him to be racist, it brought the school down.
Yeah, that's something you would expect not to happen. Like you'd expect
people in that position need to be open-minded and more caring about people around them.
No matter who they are, they're still one of your students.
My last question.
Exactly.
I hope you can see how anyone can be affected by racism and can be hurting. Judge people by who they are, not by their skin. This is something we as a group need to work hard together to get equality. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, and I hope you enjoyed it.